Hi, everyone. I thought it would be time to give a little update on how things are going. I had some blood work done, so I thought I would share with you all how that blood work came out. Did some metabolic ones, thyroid, etc. I didn't do a full comprehensive. I will be doing that in November to be able to compare everything. I have everything laid out. My blood work from before keto to during carnivore to where I am now, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so before I share what my blood work was, I'm going to share with you where I'm at, how am I doing, how's my body responding, etc. Okay, so I don't track very much. I tracked for about 3 days and I was able to see that my protein is typically between 100 and 140 grams of protein. So I'm still hitting my protein goals. My fat ranges between 65 to 100 grams of fat, just depending on where I am in my cycle and satiety level, etc. My carbs range between 75 to 200 grams currently. I've just been really experimenting. I know that not all carbs are created equal, so I was just trying to see which fit well in my body, which don't, etc. I have found personally that I do best with fruits as a carbohydrate source. Starches such as potatoes have been really hit or miss. Rice, I have noticed later that day or the following day, I tend to get a little more panicky and anxiety. So that's just something to show that not all carbohydrates are created equal. I do tolerate pretty much all the vegetables really well as long as they're cooked well. I've recently tried black beans again. I haven't had those in a long time and I really enjoyed that. That really helps with my satiety and to help me feel full as well. I haven't brought in junk food. I am not consuming cookies and pizza and pasta and all those kind of things. I don't really have a desire to. The one the one junk food, I guess you could say, that I have had is some ice cream. But the ice cream I eat is very particular. So I get some at Sprouts that has all real ingredients. Cream, it does have sugar. Cream, sugar, vanilla, egg, and like whatever flavor it is, vanilla or I've done vanilla and I've done mint chip, but they use like the actual real stuff. But it's not a very common thing. I think I've done it once or twice in the past 6 weeks. It hasn't really been much at all. I'm trying to think if there's any others. I can't really remember others. Oh, I've done oatmeal and that one's been hit or miss as well. Sometimes I felt good on it, sometimes I didn't. Pancakes, I've been using einkorn flour as well as locally sourced organic flour. That one also is maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks at most. I have not done much of that at all. So some of those are why I have to do a range of carbs because I don't know the carb content of the flour I'm using. I just know it's locally sourced and organic. And also, I just feel like tracking has become really tedious. I've been doing this for 8 years and I'm tired of tracking. I really am. So I'm just basing it on how I feel, what my weight is like, my bloat, which I haven't had in a really long time. So that's one of the things that's been fine is adding vegetables and fruits. I have not gotten bloated. I am able to be more flexible when going out. I don't have to be extremely strict at restaurants where it gets difficult to find something to eat on the menu. So it's made it a little more flexible in that sense. Recently, I was in Massachusetts with my family for my grandmother's funeral, and I was able to enjoy the Portuguese food that I haven't really been able to enjoy for a while. So I'm really excited to see where all of this takes me. Now, as I've been talking about this on social media, a lot of people have either said that they too feel a lot better incorporating more carbohydrates. Some are saying, well, good for you because keto and carnivore healed you, but I'm not there yet. So I kind of wanted to address that aspect. Did keto and carnivore heal me? I don't know. I really don't. I don't have a place to say if, yes, because I went keto, because I went carnivore, now I can tolerate carbs. In fact, the more I'm learning about this, the more I think maybe not. I don't know. Because if you are ketogenic and carnivore for a very long time, you can develop something called physiological insulin resistance, where then when you reintroduce certain carbohydrates, you react with higher blood sugar and more reactive hypoglycemia, and then it becomes more insulin resistant. So I don't know. I do know what it did help me with. I know it helped me lose a bunch of weight. I know it helped with my epilepsy, and I know it helped with my PCOS. So do I regret it? I absolutely don't. Do I think there's a time and a place for ketogenic and carnivore? Absolutely. So I still like them as tools in our toolbox. But just like an average toolbox, you're not going to only have a hammer or you're not going to only have a screwdriver, right? If you're truly wanting to build something, you need to have multiple tools. And I really believe keto and carnivore are one of those tools. But when you get to this point of metabolic healing, you should be able to move on, right? This isn't the way for me personally to live forever. Some people might feel that way, and that's totally fine. If they feel great, go for it. But I don't know if I believe, especially for women, that staying in ketosis and staying strict carnivore long term is going to have benefits. And there are people coming out, long-term carnivore, long-term keto people saying the same thing. So, and sharing their stories as well. So did keto carnivore heal me? I don't know. I don't know. I do know my gut test I had never shared with you all. And if you want me to share that here on this channel, let me know and I'll make a video going over my gut test. But I will say it was not good. It was not good at all. So my gut was a horrid mess. A horrid mess. And that's what I'm working on currently. I'm on a protocol. I'm going to retest in November and see how much has improved. My short chain fatty acids were a hot mess, the butyrate, my mucus degradation, my inflammation was high. What else was there? My digestive capacity, my enzymes were low. I had dysbiosis. I had overgrowth of bad bacteria, just a lot of things. And it just makes sense. So maybe that's why it wasn't working for me anymore. Maybe something happened. Maybe that carnivore did contribute to the gut dysbiosis. I don't know. I can't compare. What I do know is what's working for me now. And that's what I'm going to stick to. Some people have asked me, how do they know which carbohydrates that they can reintroduce? And what is the process of that? What does that look like? Well, I'm going to make a whole different video on that because that's a whole long topic. But in a short snippet is it depends. And you have to really keep track of what you're bringing in and do it very slowly. So for me, for a while, I was only bringing in apples and oranges, and that was it. That was the only fruit I was having, and I felt fine with it. As I started bringing in other fruits very slowly, I would pay attention to my mood, my sleep, my way of handling stress, all those kind of things. And I'd see, and my gut, that was a big one, and I'd see how I feel. And then paying attention to the scale to a point, because there's obviously natural fluctuations that happen throughout the month and day to day, but also paying attention to how my clothes fit. So that's a big one. So all of those taken into consideration. So just that little by little. And then you can start bringing in other categories. So you find what fruits work for you. Great. Now go into the starches and start with just like a small potato or start with a small piece of sweet potato, whatever it is. For me, I feel like potatoes, I could eat so much potato. And maybe that's my body telling me something. I don't know. But I know when I'm full, I can still keep going on potatoes. So I'm very cautious with that one, unless it's mashed potatoes. Yeah, maybe I should start making some mashed potatoes. Okay, anyways, back to my story. So little by little, don't go from 0 carb up to 150, 200 grams of carbs. Don't do that. That's not, and don't start with broccoli and cruciferous vegetables. That's the worst thing you can start with. Don't start with raw vegetables. Start with really good cooked ones. So that's where I would say with that. And then eventually start trying different things out and you'll figure out what works best for you. Some people starches work better. Some people fruits work better. Some people less, some people more. Also, it depends on how active you are. If you are incredibly sedentary, you're not going to go super high carb. You're going to just increase some. But if you are an active person out at the gym, going for runs and walks and moving around, then you might be able to tolerate more. This is where working with someone is really, really helpful. The one thing you want to make sure you do have is enough protein. And for some people, it's a little bit difficult to meet their protein goals without having too much fat. This is where I don't like to rely on protein powder, but until I get that full balance, it's a really helpful one. So the one I really like using is Prime Protein. It's made from beef isolate and doesn't have any junk in it. So grass-fed, grass-finished, you're getting all the amino acids you need. So I will add that in if I meet my fat intake and I just need more protein. I will incorporate that into my daily routine. I am an affiliate with them, so I like to disclose that, but I only affiliate with products that I trust and I use myself. So if you do want to try out Prime Protein, you can click the link in the description, and with my code Jen Winkler, you can get a discount on your first order. Right now they're running a sale, so check that part out. My favorite flavor is chocolate by far, as well as unflavored, and sometimes I just add that into things. I will use it as a shake in the morning, especially as a busy mom. That is my go-to pretty often when it's a busy morning. I throw them in the yogurts so that that can make a delicious dessert or meal in itself as well. Sometimes I've made protein pancakes. I will mix them into cottage cheese and make a delicious mousse after I blend up the cottage, like I blend it together in cottage cheese. So there's lots of different ways you can use it, and there's tons of recipes out there using their protein powder, really delicious ones. My family does the other flavors. Strawberry, vanilla are some of their favorites, as well as a salted caramel and iced coffee. So head in there, check it out, see what you like, test it out, let me know how you like it. One last thing I want to address before getting to the lab work is people will say carbohydrates are not essential for survival. And this is one of those where I'm like, yeah, okay, can you live without eating carbohydrates? Absolutely, you can. But do you want to just survive or do you want to be the best person you can? Like when I go to the gym now, I don't get exhausted. I am fueled for my workout. And I can last longer in the gym now more than I could ever be carnivore or keto. I am seeing muscle growth. I am seeing definition in places I have not seen definition before. It is wild, like just incredible. And the other aspect is if glucose was not essential for, like carbohydrates are not essential for survival, then why do we have a process in our body called gluconeogenesis, which will produce glucose from muscle and protein in order for you to utilize the glucose? So you need it so much that your body is created with an emergency mechanism where if you're not consuming it, it will produce it. But we are not supposed to stay in that state forever because of the whole process that it takes, which stimulates cortisol and a whole mechanism of hormones that honestly I'm still learning about. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend I'm a know it all. But when I listen to the people that are very intellectual and educated in this arena and they talk about it, it makes sense. So I will have some of those people on my channel to break it all down at some point, hopefully soon. We need to get them scheduled. But it just doesn't make sense to stay in that stressed mode of constantly producing gluconeogenesis. And I'm going to show you in my lab work as well, because it is reflected in my liver enzymes. Now, what am I doing going forward? I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to try to eat seasonally, which means probably won't have as many fruits as I was having during the summer. I was doing a lot of watermelon, oranges, kiwis, pineapple, mango, all the summer vegetables, especially living here in Arizona. So now I'm going to try and lean more into winter with squashes, pumpkin, acorn, spaghetti squash, apples, all the seasonal stuff. I'm going to try potatoes again now that I've kind of balanced things out and see how I can tolerate them. Maybe cooked differently as well. There's lots of different ways to experiment. So that's where I'm going to do that. I'm also probably going to stay on the lower end of the carb spectrum, maybe like 100 to 150 grams, kind of leaning into that seasonal winter ketosis aspect. Not that I'm going to get into ketosis, but I am going to lean more into that as it makes sense seasonally, right? There wasn't as much stuff to pull from the grounds to eat. So also that's going to help me with my boundaries with all the sweets that come up during Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. just keeping that boundary safe so that I don't go splurging on all the junk. Okay, that being said, let's go over my lab work. Okay, first I'm going to show you a year ago in 2024 when I would say more keto. Most days were carnivore, but there was a number of days that I was having some vegetables with dinner, and that was it. So this is where I was at. Now, the NMR lipoprofile, so this is my LDL particle number. This is very high. And you can see I have a history of it being high during my keto time. We want it under 1,000. Mine's clearly high. A lot of people will say, don't worry about LDL when you're keto carnivore. The more I research, the more I'm realizing it's not necessarily a big issue, but it's definitely signaling that something else is going on and you want to be able to address that. So with my HDL being 78 and triglycerides 89, that's not necessarily a problem. That's a very close 1-to-1 ratio. Typically, my triglycerides were in the 70s and 80s, but even before keto, my HDL and triglycerides were always good. So LDL being 216, it is on the higher end a little bit. I prefer to see in the hundreds for someone, but this is a lot better than what it used to be. When I was in the peak of my carnivore phase, I was in the 300s. 300s was total. So that's where that is. My LDL was even higher though, like 270 or something. But this is the other one. My small dense particle was 503, and that's pretty high. That's a high number for small dense. These are the dangerous LDLs. These are the ones you want them as low as possible. So that's where my cholesterol was at in September. Hey, I am adding this later because I completely forgot to go over my new lipid numbers. So this is my October range. My total cholesterol is 226 compared to prior was 308. So that got into a better range. HDL is still really good at 68 with triglycerides still really low at 62. So my triglycerides actually went down. But I'm not going to honestly give too much credit to that because every time I've gotten lipids done, they have been somewhere in that range of 60 to 90 for triglycerides and 60 to 80 for HDL. So it's still a 1-to-1 ratio in range, so that's really good. LDL is 143. This looks flagged high, but that's because that's conventional range versus 216 before. So really healthy numbers. I'm not going to say all of it is due to increasing carbohydrates and lowering fat. I think that's a part of it, but also I've been working on thyroid health. As thyroid improves, lipid also improves. I've been working on gut health. As gut improves, lipids improve. So there's a lot of root cause stuff I've been working with, as well as cortisol. Obviously, I've been telling you guys I'm working on cortisol. So all those things can definitely help lipids balance out. And that's what I mean by when LDL is elevated, there's something else going on that you can work on and improve. You do see over here, just in July, the numbers were very similar. So July, I had about 1 month into adding in carbohydrates. So it hasn't changed much at all since that time. And then my fasting glucose was great, 81, no problem there. But my liver enzymes, we like these for women to be between 10 and 20. I have a history of high liver enzymes in the 40s and 50s. So when I saw these, I was actually kind of happy that it was going down. But the reason it was going down is because of one of the supplements I was taking called phosphatidylcholine. And this is down from, I believe, the mid 30s, not too long before that. So I had started taking it and it was improving slowly. Now my A1C had creeped up to 5.2. It had been in the 4.8, 4.9 range for a long time, but now it's going up. And then my reverse T3 was very high at 26.1. This is one of the thyroid hormones, and this is signaling there's stress in my body going on. And it's always been above 15. We want it under 15. So this is going to steal from thyroid production to make it incredibly simplified. And then here's my free T3 at 2.0. As you can see, previous one was 2.1 as well. And this is one that I had struggled with for a long time. One of the other reasons I wanted to increase my carbohydrates. One thing I forgot to mention. So my sodium to potassium ratio. Functionally, this 138 is on the lower end of the functional range, and my potassium's on the higher end of the functional range. That's signaling an aldosterone issue, which is signaling adrenal stress. And I've had this the whole time I was keto. Prior to keto, I did not have this issue. On keto, I did have this issue. So I wanted to share that one because when I go to, let's go to October now, my glucose is 87, so it's still in the 80s. I mean, it's going to range day to day, right? Or flex day to day. Now, when I go to sodium, look at this, 137 to 4.2 versus a 138, 4.4. So the ratio to them are balancing out. My cortisol and adrenal stress is balancing out now. That's huge right there. Now my liver enzymes, 25 for AST, 21 for ALT, and before it was 29 and 33. So that is also getting better, my liver. My hemoglobin A1C of 3 months of eating 100 to 200 grams of carbs a day is 4.9. And it was 5.2 before. Okay, but Jen, your insulin's going to go up. Well, my insulin's only 4.8. It's under the functional range of 6. I like it under 6 or 7. 7, it just depends on who the person is. It's in that range, 4.8. I don't think I had it on these labs, but typically it was in the 3 range, 3 to 5. So that is unchanged as well. And the best part is my free T3, my thyroid hormone, is the highest I have ever seen it at 2.9. Last time, it was 2, a year ago. 2.9 functional range, we like it between 3 and 5. So I'm still looking to improve this more. I'm just waiting patiently and letting my body do its thing. So that's where things are at. Now, how's my weight? It hasn't really gone up or down. Increasing the carbs, I would say it's been pretty steady. I might have lost a pound or 2, but it fluctuates 2 pounds throughout the month, which is very normal. So I haven't seen anything drastic, but I'm okay with that. I'm not at a place in my weight that I feel I need to lose a lot more, but I haven't been gaining either. My sleep has been the same. It's always been good. My hormones are doing a lot better as well. My estrogen has decreased. I needed it to go down, and that is really good. Progesterone is really strong. Testosterone, I will get tested in November. But yeah, everything else is good. My mood, I don't snap at my kids as much. There's just a lot of different things. I wish I had written them all down. So that's my update. That's where things are at. Don't come at me. I'm still an advocate for carnivore. I'm still an advocate for keto. It's just in the right time and right place and for right length of time. So yeah, if there's anything else that you guys want to hear from me, please comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Help it to spread around to people that may need to hear it. But yeah, some people can benefit from carbs, and they're not just incorporating them because they can. They're incorporating them because they actually do help. And when I say carbs, one more thing, when I say carbs, I'm not talking about the junk food. I'm not, because a lot of the junk food has high fat too. Just remember that. The brownies, the cookies, the pizza, they're high fat. They're not just carbs. They're carbs and fat. Please, please realize that. It is one of my biggest pet peeves. When I say carbohydrates, I always mean in the form of fruits and vegetables. So, okay, thank you guys. Signing off, and I hope you have a fantastic day.